your plan that would have allowed the children of illegals in-state tuition to college. And at the time you said we shouldn't punish children for the actions of their parents. On the other hand, shortly after that, you came out with a very tough immigration plan which mandates that all illegals must leave the country and return to their home within 120 days if they want to become legals. Aren't you, in effect, in that plan punishing those very children that you said you didn't want to punish?
Not at all, because as long as those children are here and people question their authenticity for being here, they live in the shadows. They live hiding. No person living in the United States of America, Chris, ought to live in the shadows, ought to live in fear, ought to hide. The beauty of this country is we live with our heads up. We live with dignity. We live with pride. We live with honor. And as long as people are living illegally, they can't. And I know I'm going to be questioned. Do I still stand by that idea that we treat the children differently who didn't commit a crime? And let me just be very clear. Yes, I do stand beside that. Because I don't think you punish a child for what a parent did. Now, the fact is, under the plan that I put forth, and it's tough, it says build a fence. It does say, after you have a fence, I believe built by American laborers with American material, people should be asked to go back and get in the back of the line. The only place to get in the back of the line is in their home country. There's no line here.
How about the kids in school? Them too or not?
Mitt, I'm talking to Chris right now, if you don't mind.
But that is actually a question I was going to ask.
Well, you can ask it, but you know, I've decided that you're the moderator of the debate, not Mitt. He's tried to engage me in this, and I appreciate you very much. But I believe I'll let Chris be the moderator here.
What about the children in school?
Well, here's the point. If the families go back, they're going to take their children with them.
Right.
And when those children go back and then they get in line and they get back into the United States, then this issue is resolved. The reason we have the problem we have is because our federal government has broken it, has caused it to be dysfunctional, and we've got to get it fixed. The one thing I do agree, whether it's with Senator McCain, Mayor Giuliani, Fred Thompson, anyone here, is that this problem isn't going to get solved by seeing if we can throw flash words at each other. It's going to get solved when we sit down like reasonable human beings and decide that we've got to do something that fixes the problem by sealing the border first and foremost. But I absolutely believe that as a governor, I had to educate those kids. That wasn't an option for me. The mayor had the same situation in New York. By law, you educate children. And also, it doesn't make sense to turn kids out on the street, because then you're going to end up with a much bigger problem than Governor, the education cost.
I'm going to give you 30 seconds because we need to move on. But 30 seconds. If you have the child of an illegal immigrant and he is in high school in Little Rock, and now under the Huckabee, President Huckabee's plan, he and his family all have to move back to Mexico, aren't you punishing that kid? He's a sophomore in high school, and now he's been dragged out of Little Rock, and he's living in Tijuana. I guess his parents could
leave him there if he's a senior in high school, but I think most families, particularly if you understand about most of the immigrant families, they're family-loving people. These are not people that want to split their families up. They want to keep their families together. They come here for their families, Chris. They come here so their kids will have an opportunity. They come here so their kids will have groceries to eat. These are people who don't come here because they're escaping wealth so they can come to poverty. They're escaping poverty so they can have a chance to have wealth. And the point I'm making is that if we're going to have this problem fixed, let's actually fix it. And all the rhetoric that we've thrown out about who's more for amnesty and who's less for amnesty, I mean, a lot of that's pure nonsense. What we need to do is say, seal the border, have a plan to get in the back of the line, no free rides. We won't have amnesty, and I think every one of us here, including John McCain, agrees with that. Get a system that we can live with, and then let's don't ever make this mistake again. We all love to invoke the name of Ronald Reagan. Let's not forget, with all due respect, Ronald Reagan was the one who signed the amnesty bill back in the 80s that's given us the mess now. We all love him. We all want to be like him. But even Ronald Reagan can make mistakes, and we now need to fix the mistake.